They appear awkward and strange, rolling their shoulders as they slump along like a big bully. Long-legged and humpbacked, they've developed a reputation as a dangerous, disagreeable creature. Their stare and aggressive stance seem threatening. But for the most part, the Shiras moose is a solitary animal, keeping to himself. And experts say the moose's reputation for a bad temper may simply be a result of his curious nature.
Many people do associate moose with being aggressive. A lot of that, what people interpret as being aggressive, is mere curiosity on the moose's part. An adult moose doesn't have a lot of natural enemies out in the wilds. Now, of course, the calves, as they're growing up, do have things that would eat them. But as they grow older and bigger, there's not much in the woods that's going to challenge an adult moose, and they consequently become very curious.
The Shiras moose of the Rocky Mountains is the smallest of 3 species of moose found in North America. Moose are the largest members of the deer family. That includes white-tailed deer, mule deer, caribou, and elk. The Shiras moose is found throughout sections of the Rocky Mountains of North America. A mature, full-grown Shiras moose can weigh as much as 1,200 pounds. This massive body, supported by long, slender legs, contributes to the moose's impressive appearance as it reaches up to 6 feet at the shoulders. The hooves are long and narrow with toes spread apart, making it possible to walk in marshland with ease. But don't let the size of this animal fool you. Moose can travel with great speed through areas where other animals flounder. A creature as large and bulky as a moose can't help but evoke a certain air of mystery. They spend their summer days feeding lazily. Often they are found standing in the middle of a small pond or marsh. Their huge heads plunge beneath the shallow water, seeking out the tender vegetation below. Moose require large amounts of food, like aquatic and swamp vegetation, softwoods and twigs with juicy bark, and grasses. With long legs and a short neck, feeding becomes an awkward task. The natural way moose feed is to stretch their neck and head upwards to reach food from bushes and trees, or to feed on the aquatic foods they find in swampy areas, streams or ponds. Some moose have been seen in lakes totally submerged while eating. Moose prefer to live alone and have one or several distinct home areas in which they stay. They don't travel very far. The home ranges of moose are small areas throughout North America, seldom exceeding 3 to 6 square miles. A noticeable feature on moose is the nose, a long and white snout similar to that of a horse. The upper lip is highly movable and helps the moose gather food. While moose have excellent hearing and smell, their eyes are small and round, and their eyesight is poor. The neck of a moose is short and compact, with a noticeable skin pouch that hangs down on both the male and the female. The pouch is called the bell, a bulging flap of skin and hair that dangles from the throat area. These bells may grow up to 15 inches at the base and hang down as long as a foot. Bells come in several shapes and sizes and tend to get smaller with age. By early summer, most of the females, called cows, have given birth. Like most parents, their main concern is the protection of the baby, also called a calf.
As you'll notice, the cow keeps checking to the right in the brush. The probability is that there is a calf over there. This time of year, the calves are relatively small. They're still totally dependent upon their mother for survival. They're nursing. They don't wean these calves until August and September. So she undoubtedly is showing a little bit of concern, being that she keeps checking over into that area.
By midsummer, when a calf is a little older and stronger, it shadows its mother, rarely leaving her side. Except for its color, the calf looks much like a miniature adult with elongated legs and a small hump to its back. As it matures, it will gradually turn from reddish-brown to the darker color of an adult. In spring, moose shed their winter coat. It is replaced by a new coat of short, fine black hair. As summer passes, new insulating hair, called guard hair, grows rapidly and takes on a reddish-brown appearance. A fine undercoat of wool lies below the dark body hair, adding another layer of insulation. This undercoat helps minimize the loss of body heat and also absorbs heat from the sun. But in the summer, the dense black coat can be a burden.
They need the protection from the bugs and from the heat because they are a big black animal and they do draw a lot of heat in their system. So they like the heavy, thick, boggy bottoms. where they can get out of the hot weather and get into some mud to roll in and get rid of some of the mosquitoes.
During the colder months, when deer and elk seek out the milder temperatures of lower elevations, the rough insulating coat of the moose allows the hardy creature to winter in some cold, severe areas. Long legs make it possible for the moose to reach the tender shoots and branches of willows that make up its winter diet. This adaptation also helps it to plow through soft, feathery snow, or trot almost gracefully across frozen, ice-locked rivers with a speed that seems out of character. It's rare to see more than one moose feeding in an area. When two are found together, it's usually a cow and a calf. This smaller animal is probably last year's offspring. Although almost full size, the young female will follow her mother until early June, when the cow will give birth to a new calf and abandon last year's offspring. But by that time, the barren expanse of ice and snow will have yielded to the plentiful, lush green of summer, and with abundant food all around, it doesn't take long for the young moose to adapt to life away from the protective care of its mother. This young male, probably a yearling, is growing his very first set of antlers. He has yet to acquire the bulky, muscular frame of a mature male, but he's already developed the intense curiosity of his species. His knobby, immature antlers aren't very impressive now, but he has the potential to someday display a spectacular rack that can weigh up to 40 pounds. Some moose antlers have been recorded to weigh as much as 75 pounds, with a spread of more than 6 feet wide. Male moose, called bulls, shed their antlers in early winter, only to begin immediately growing another set. The new antlers are covered in a soft, fuzzy layer called velvet. Growth of the antlers continues throughout the summer and reaches maximum growth in August. The growth rate and size of a bull's antlers are the result of genetics and nutrition. By September, the moose will completely rub off the velvet from his antlers with the help of nearby trees. With the velvet gone, massive antlers emerge, hard and polished, ready for the challenge of the breeding season. As the heat of summer fades into the bold colors of autumn, the breeding season begins. The mating season for moose is called the rut. By late September, bull moose start the search for females and establish dominance over other bulls with occasional battles. Generally, the moose is quieter than that of his cousin the elk. Serious fights can be settled by power, determination, and antler display. Normally, a contest between bulls will not last long, and being the loser does not necessarily mean leaving the area. While in the rut, a bull moose does not try to gather a harem like his cousin the elk. He will stay with one female, and after successfully breeding, they separate, and the bull will wander in search of another female. This behavior continues throughout the breeding season until the chill of winter falls, and the urge to breed is replaced by the search for food and a natural instinct for survival. Few can match the majesty of the big bull moose. He is a symbol of nobility and splendor, and somehow his silent dignity defines all that is magnificent. His solitary way reminds us that we are intruders in his world, a guest in the wild places he inhabits. But it also reminds us that as long as we respect the wild creatures of this earth, we too can enjoy places of peace and solitude that are the heritage of all creatures.